The slap of the envelope on my desk was louder than any sound I'd ever heard. It didn't echo, but it lingered. Thick paper. Expensive. The kind of paper you used when you were making a statement, not a deal. I knew before opening it what it was. My termination letter. I stared at the company logo, Hale & Sons Development. A name I'd helped build, literally and metaphorically. Except now, it wasn't mine anymore. The irony. I wasn't a Hale. I was the and. And they'd just erased me. 3 years ago, when I married Clara, I thought I was marrying into love. But what I really married was legacy. Her father, Douglas Hale, a man who shook hands like he owned the air between you. He was old money with new ambition, and I was the scrappy, ambitious architect who'd brought his half-sinking construction firm back from the brink. When the pandemic hit, I'd redesigned their entire business model, moved projects online, expanded into eco-builds, secured the investors who kept the company afloat. By 2023, we were on magazine covers. Douglas would clap me on the back and say, "You're the son I never had." I believed him. God help me, I believed every word. The betrayal didn't begin with the letter. It started months earlier, in whispers and glances I refused to interpret. Clara began working late again. Said her father needed help with financial restructuring. She'd always been his golden girl, MBA, poise, charm, but lately she spoke to me like a subordinate, not a husband. "Don't take it personally," she said one night, spooning risotto into her mouth, scrolling through emails. "Dad's just under pressure." I laughed softly. "From what?" "We're up 30% this quarter." She didn't look up. "We," she repeated, and there was that edge, a flicker of disdain that cut sharper than any word. I started noticing things. The closed office doors. The hushed phone calls when I walked in. Clara's brother, Brandon, suddenly appearing at meetings he'd never cared about before. A trust fund brat turned strategic director, whose only strategy involved golf and cocaine. One evening, I stopped by the company boardroom after hours to grab my tablet. The door was slightly ajar. Inside, I heard Douglas's low voice. "He's a liability. The contracts are under his name. We need to shift everything before he catches on." Clara's voice followed, calm, icy. "He won't. He still thinks you love him." My chest caved in. For a moment, I couldn't move. Couldn't breathe. They kept talking about me, my shares, the silent transfer they'd been pushing through under emergency restructuring. Everything I'd built, they were rebranding as family-owned. Family. The word tasted like acid. That night, I drove for hours. Past the city, through the suburbs, until the skyline disappeared. I ended up at the edge of a construction site, one of ours. The metal beams glinted in the moonlight like a skeleton. My skeleton. I called Clara. She answered on the third ring. "Where are you?" she asked. "I just left a meeting," I said. My voice was calm. Too calm. "Heard something interesting about me being a liability." A pause. Then, "You shouldn't eavesdrop, Ethan." That tone, condescending, cold, familiar. She didn't even deny it. "You're in on this," I said quietly. "You think you're the only one who made sacrifices," she snapped. "You came in like some savior, turning my father's company upside down, making him look weak. This was always supposed to stay in the family. So you'll take everything from me." "No," she said. "We're just taking back what's ours." Then she hung up. The following week, I pretended to play along. Smiled through meetings. Signed papers. Toasted with champagne at the transition ceremony, shaking Douglas's hand as he announced his retirement and handed the company to Brandon. The press loved it. Hale legacy continues, family leadership restored. What they didn't know was that I'd already acted. Every document I'd signed, every digital transfer they'd made, had gone through my servers. Months earlier, I'd created a backup ledger of our transactions, all traceable. Hidden clauses, shell companies, tax evasion trails, things the SEC would salivate over. But I wasn't done. 2 days after my firing, I sent one email. No threats. No demands. Just proof. Dozens of attachments, to every journalist, every investor, every government contact tied to Hale and Sons. By dawn, headlines exploded. Corruption scandal rocks Hale developments. Douglas's empire collapsed in 48 hours. Clara called. I didn't answer. Then she showed up at my apartment, mascara streaked, her voice cracking. You ruined us, she whispered. You ruined me first. She stepped closer. You could have talked to me. Would you have listened? Her silence was my answer. Then she said it, the line that broke what little was left. I never meant for it to get this far. Dad promised he'd take care of you once things stabilized. But when Brandon came back, he said you weren't family. I couldn't argue. She said it like an apology, but it sounded like justification. Months passed. The company disintegrated. Brandon vanished overseas. Douglas faced charges. Clara filed for divorce. I didn't fight it. I didn't need to. I'd already taken something they couldn't recover. Their name meant nothing now. Sometimes, I walk past one of our old sites. The scaffolding still bears the faded logo, Hale and Sons. I trace my fingers over the peeling letters. The wind cuts through the alleyways like memory, cold and sharp, whispering everything I lost and everything I reclaimed. I used to think betrayal was an act. A moment. A choice. Now I know it's a slow rot, a poison that seeps into love, into family, into every promise you thought was real. They called me a liability. They were right. Because when I finally broke, I made sure they felt it, every inch of it, until there was nothing left to take.